All right, so you guys have seen the jumping jack and the Toyota already, but if you haven't, there's the Toyota and there's the jumping jack. Got the tires to match, same wheels, same tires, same lug pattern. That way I only got to carry one spare. And they sit almost identical heights. They're so close that it's almost not even funny. As you can see, the front of the jumping jack's down a little bit. With a regular 2-inch ball, which this is what I had in there for a hitch before, I don't get all of the travel out of it that I need to be able to go off-road and do lots of crazy things with that thing, even though it's capable of doing it. So what I'm building today and tomorrow is a 3-way swivel hitch, so I can get all of the articulation and travel and turning, and I don't ever have to worry about that thing jamming up or coming off. And like I built everything on the Toyota, I probably overdid it. But I'm going to be about 60 bucks into it is all. Most of the stuff I had laying around here, some of it I'll use, some of it I won't. This is extra. This is inch and a half outside diameter quarter wall DOM tubing that I had left over from building the drag link for my steering. And it just so happens that the inside of that is 1 inch. So that works out perfect, because I got 1 inch grade 8 bolts that I'm going to use to basically build this out of. And the reason I chose 1 inch is because your regular receiver ball threads are 1 inch threads. Most of them anyway, not all of them, but your 2-inch ball is generally a 1 inch thread. So that way everything just fits. This is just an old extender piece that I had that I think came out of one of my dad's or my grandpa's old stuff, and just so happens I have it laying around. So why buy something if you don't need it? So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this yet. I'm going to kind of get it going and see what I like and what I don't like. That's kind of how I build everything. I always have an idea and a general plan, but then I end up not liking it somewhere along the road, so I change it. But it's always worked out. So general plan is I'm going to take this collar and weld it inside of a piece of square tube, like so, except for it doesn't quite fit in there. I'm gonna have to grind it down a little bit, but anyway, I'm gonna weld it inside there, then run that bolt through it so that it swivels. Then I'm going to weld a piece of 1/4 inch plate on the outside here just to make sure that it ain't coming out of there, and then I will take the nut and tighten that down onto that, and then weld onto the nut another piece of tubing or something that will have a pin for this to go through. And then that will, so essentially what will happen is this will rotate this way. I will have another pin that runs through here. Actually, that bolt is going to run through there that way, and it will swivel that way. And then I will take the rest of this, cut it, flip it, put it in here, put a piece across the top, and then drop that in. And then it will swivel all 3 directions, and I will never run out of travel. I can get that thing basically, well, I could literally flip that thing upside down and still drag it. So that's the plan. I'm gonna start building it, and I'll show you guys the steps along the way. All right, hopefully you can see in my horrible lighting in my garage, but I got that collar welded in there, and as you can see, I've got a plate welded on the outside. So I welded 1 inch of the 2 inches all the way around, but there's some big gaps in the corners there. So I wanted to put a plate, so I put a piece of 1/8 inch, welded it all the way around, and that thing is not coming out of there. Well, I'll drop the bolt through there and make sure that it rotates like it's supposed to, and then figure out exactly what I want to do from there. All right, so what I got so far is I've got this collar welded inside also, and I decided I'm going to go get some nylon bushings to put in between here, and I'm going to cut this and seal it off, weld it in with the bolt head in there, and then make it greasable if the nylon bushings don't work. If they do work, I'm not going to need to do that, but then I'll just use this nut with that lock washer to tighten it down on here, and then I'm going to weld this onto here just far enough out so that I can still get that tightened down or loosened, whichever way I need to go with it. And then I'm going to take, let's see, this piece of square tube, quarter wall, way excessive I'm sure, and going to cut another piece of this to slide in between there and drill a hole in it so that you can slide a pin through there. And then I'm going to weld that to here, and this will slide over that, and that will allow this pivot. So yeah, got some cutting to do. All right, so back at it today. Ran out of daylight and time last night before the birthday party. So I went and bought me some, if I can find them, oh, right here. So I went and bought some poly bushings basically to give that something to ride on. Gotta weld this onto that. So I started last night, if I can find it, I got some, oh, there it is. So I took a piece of quarter wall and cut it out, but because it's so rounded, I ended up not having much on the sides here. So I decided to just make one. So I took some 1/4 inch plate and basically gonna weld all that together and then drill my holes. And then that will sit in there for my one swivel. And then I'll have one on this side for the other one and be good to go. So anyway, get welding and I'll take you guys some pictures here and do some more video when I'm done. Well, my step bit started to get too dull, so I'm on my way to Harbor Freight to get me another one. I can get 2 of them for half the price here that I got one at Home Depot or Lowe's. And I've used all of them on my Toyota build so far, and they last just as long, if not longer, for half the price. Well, I got it done. Let's see how it does. I'm going to take it out across the river here and see if I can break anything. So far, fairly happy with it. We'll see. I don't like how loose this is right here. I drilled that hole too big on the top, so not too pissed off about it, but I definitely like it tighter, so might do something different there. Really what I might do is, instead of running the pin through here, I might put the pin through there. We'll see. Might work better that way, but I definitely need to put a grommet in there. And this thing I had to sand it or grind it down because it was too big, wouldn't fit through the 1 inch. So clearly this pin is a little bit bigger than 1 inch. Well, so far it seems to be working pretty good. Nothing's broke. Looks like it's all still there. I'm going to turn on the GoPro and drive it up this hill over here and hopefully get some good footage of it. Well guys, I would fair to say that there's not very many trailer setups that you can do this with. Yeah, that's just dumb. That's a little more than a 45-degree angle. Hard to tell, but well, actually I'd probably say it's right at 45 degrees. Backed right up there like it wasn't even there. I'll take that any day of the week. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, and make sure you subscribe and share the video if you liked it. If you have any questions at all, whether it be about the build or the products we're using in the videos, please comment, guys. I'd love to answer the questions for you and help you out in any way I can.